Cool. So my name's David, and I'm going to give you just a brief talk today. I know you're all kind of a little bit carb coma after lunch, because man, there's so much bread in this country. So much bread. So who am I? My name's David Goodlad. I'm a web infrastructure architect at Envato. A bit of a wanky title, but it's basically my gig is thinking about how all the bits fit together infrastructure-wise at Envato. It's kind of a classic ops architect role, but a lot more hands-on. And Envato, we run a series of online marketplaces. So we let creative digital content producers build things and sell them through our marketplaces, and we take a cut in the form of a fee, and we move huge WordPress themes. So we run a site called Theme Forest, which is the world's largest WordPress theme marketplace. We run PhotoDune, so we do stock photos and stock audio, just heaps and heaps of stuff. And we have this thing, we have a number of streams in the development group. We have community wins, so we focus on what is the community gonna do and let them win. We have Envato wins, focus on us a little bit. We had some quick wins, which is kind of like maintenance tasks and little pokey, but there was nothing really ops focused. And we've now got this new stream called 10x, and it's not really a traditional ops stream. It's the goal is, if we stopped building features today and our business kept growing, because it does. Like we kind of sit and chill and fix things, but there's just always more people wanting to buy and sell stuff. So if our business kept growing, what's going to fall over next? What's going to hurt? So we focus on that stuff, smash out the next thing that's going to fall over, and architect it such that it can scale to about 10 times as big, because that's probably when we're going to get to it next. So it's got to survive for a while without us having to fundamentally reevaluate the decisions we've made. So we can boot up more servers or whatever, that's fine, but we've got some fundamental decisions. And as part of that work, kind of led to the idea that our infrastructure is really secondary. We get woken up by infrastructure stuff, and it's really, really shit. So I'd like you to focus on the second word there, secondary. Like really, really focus on it, because it's kind of important in this. What does that word actually mean in this context? I mean, it's specifically what it says. I mean, look at infrastructure second, not first. Look at your business first. What does the business want out of this system? What does it mean to be performing well as a business? Our infrastructure it's just a means to an end with your business, right? So every business has a number of measures that say whether or not it's successful right now. This might be sales, might be users, it might be packets per second. If you're a networking business and your business is moving packets around, awesome. That is a measure of your business's success. It happens to be an infrastructure measure in that specific case, but that's what you should be paying attention to. Are our users able to sign up? This is a thing that I want to be woken up for. So why am I here rambling about this? Part of it is I'm really selfish. I really, really value my sleep. I don't know about you guys, but do you enjoy being woken up at 4 in the morning after you've just been up working hard all day? Because I really don't. So according to my watch, I should actually be sleeping right now. So who knows what's going on. But when these alerts wake me up, they make me really sad face. And then at 3 in the morning, my brain is not working very well. It's basically this lady. Does everybody know this character from Little Britain? Yeah, she's amazing. If you've not seen that clip, it's very funny. Just look it up. Computer says no. She's amazing. So I'm going to just leave her here for a minute while I talk. Because, yeah. So an alert on something like load average, or even like abnormal back-end response time. Like, these are kind of interesting. We're nerds. We like to pay attention to those things, but it doesn't really tell me if I should care, especially at 3 in the morning. I look at this and I go, I don't know, like, no idea. So I've just been woken up with one of these alerts, and I'm thinking to myself, do I even care? I'm wasting like the 2 brain cycles I have right now trying to figure out if I should even care about this message that just came through, let alone what is causing this problem. I don't know if it's really a problem. I don't know anything. It's 3 in the morning. It's no, bad. So that's me. I'm whinging for myself, but let's talk about some other people for a little bit. Our systems are there to perform an important function. If they're not, why are we building them other than just to tinker around, right? People are paying to have these systems built and running all the time. So these are the things that we should be focused on, is the why is this system running? The people paying for it shouldn't have to care, and shouldn't really want us to care too much either about these really low-level, dirty system metrics, nerdy stuff, right? It's important, but it's not the first thing you should be paying attention to. So when you're measuring the performance of your infrastructure, it's definitely not a measure of how well your business is performing. Who cares if you can serve a web page up in 10 milliseconds if all it does is says, not going to take your money? Like, those metrics just don't matter, at least not primarily. So your business really cares about infrastructure's performance only in so much as it's delivering. It's a function of how your business is delivering value to your customers, to your users, to your stakeholders, however your business is set up, doesn't matter. So your alerts, your primary alerts, your primary metrics should be measures of how your business is actually performing. And I'm using these terms primary and secondary very specifically. I'm definitely not saying only measure business metrics. I'm definitely not saying never measure infrastructure numbers. That would be dumb, right? You need to do both of these things. What I'm really meaning is that you should be focusing on one before the other. All of your work in setting up monitoring for business metrics would go to complete waste if you had no way of identifying what the real problem is underlying this failure to take somebody's money, right? A guy named Ted Zubia, I don't know if any of you have seen this article. It's from a couple of years ago, and he discussed a similar thing. And he described his reaction to these kinds of alerts that say, high load, or too many things in the queue. It's just a cool story, bro, but like, why? I don't really care. And in his article he says that, and I'll just read a quote. Monitors can be informative, actionable, or both. By informative, I mean that the alert must tell you categorically that there is a problem. And by actionable, I mean that receiving the alert must prompt some kind of immediate response. Business metrics, by their very nature, should be at the very least informative, right? If you know that there's always going to be sales happening, we're running a business that's at least kind of bootstrapped, and there's always going to be some money rolling through in some form or another, then an alert on 0 sales in the last 10 minutes is definitely an informative alert. It tells you something is actually wrong. There is no question. It's actionable too, by that definition. If you get an alert that looks like that says no sales in the last 10 minutes, someone has to do something about it immediately. There is something you can do. You can get on the horn to your hosting provider. You can do something about this thing. And you're going to have to do it right quick, or you are going to have a bad time in the morning when you come in and they've told you you're not coming in anymore, right? There's no more money. We can't pay you. So let's take a look at just a quick example. Is that a good alert by those standards? Not really. Nope. What limit did you set on that number? You know, maybe I said it a year ago and now it just starts going off. You know, I said, there will never be more than 1,000 photos waiting to be processed. So either you're stuck there reevaluating that number every 6 months, or you set some, I don't know, really complicated modeling, and it's probably going to be wrong. You're going to have false positives, false negatives all over the place. We've had lots of people talking about that through this whole conference, and it's been like really good to hear other people talking about that. The other question in my mind, if I were to receive an alert that said that, is what effect has this had on my users? Right? Maybe there's heaps of photos in the queue, but our systems are so fast. We can process a photo in like 1/10 of a second, so we've got 1,000 in there. It's not actually going to take very long. What effect is this actually having on our users? So I think this is a better thing to be talking about, and it's kind of convenient that there's a pair here of alerts. I've spent the last couple of weeks trying to come up with great examples, and this one's nice because it does have a match, right? They don't always, but this isn't dollars. So a lot of people go, oh, business value, how can we measure this in dollars? This isn't really dollars. You might, you know, depending on how your business works, might be able to translate a number like this into dollars. And it's pretty technical, right? Time to process a reason. So what is processing, But it's something that our business in Envato's case, really cares about, right? Our authors are going, cool, I want to sell this photo, and I want to link to it, I want to get my business going, I want to move some money, and I've pressed some buttons and nothing's happening. Why are my photos not there? If our authors are doing that, and not seeing photos come up and be available for sale, this is a big problem. And it's actually a value, a metric that we can set a reasonable limit for. This limit is not going to really vary over time. This is something that everybody says, oh, don't alert on thresholds. There are definitely cases where you can alert on a threshold. This is one of them, I think. You can work with the rest of the business to identify what is a reasonable service level for this. Are our authors willing to accept 30 seconds? 35? I don't know. What's unreasonable? I don't know. I don't actually know the answer to this. But it's something that you can set an arbitrary, easy limit for, working with your business, and feel confident that if this alert goes off, you've got a real problem. So now you know something is going wrong. You've got that alert, that one that just came up. You know, things are taking too long to get through the queue. You groggily open your laptop, you kind of stumble downstairs out of bed, get on the VPN. Okay, so I better let support know something's wrong. I'm having a look. Now I'm ready to go. My brain is slowly waking up. What do I do? This is where I go back to the system metrics. You need to correlate the thing that alerted you with other deviant stuff, right? But a lot of those things, as we've heard over the past few days, are really hard to identify 100% sure this thing is broken. So back-end response time, queue length, whatever. Those things are hard to come up with a number or a statistical model for that says this is good and this is bad. But as a human, we can look at a graph and go, there might be a problem there. My computer wouldn't have told me, or it'd give me a 50-50, but let's correlate and pop up stuff that might be bad, and let's have a look at them. So you get woken up by this thing that says there actually is a problem. We don't know why, but there's a problem. And you get a bunch of metrics thrown at you that says these things are out of whack at the same time. Now you've got a really, really good start to identify what's going on. So you can get into things like CPU, I/O weight, you know, network issues, network throughput. You're smashing your shared file system if you have one of those. We do. And these metrics, they've got a state, right? Even though we're not necessarily alerting on a lot of these things, we should still have an idea of what good and possibly bad are. So there's no reason not to set thresholds for these things. Just don't have it yell at you, don't have it email, don't make noise. Be able to get at the stuff that's out of the ordinary on demand, and only alert on the things that are really causing a problem. So these metrics I'm dumping into Riemann right now. There was a workshop earlier, and I sadly missed it, about Riemann. How many people have seen or heard about Riemann, used it? Drop your hand if you haven't used it. How many people have actually used Riemann in anger? Not many. Riemann is really cool. We throw thousands of events at it per second on a tiny little crappy VM, and it just goes, yeah, cool, give me more, I want to process some stuff. It's really good. And it's got a few interesting properties that make it useful for this. I'm not saying Riemann is the tool to solve this problem, but this is what I've been using, and it's been really good. And it's got these few properties that make it useful. One is that it accepts arbitrary metrics. This isn't the 1980s or 90s anymore, where you have to predefine a list of things and where they're going to go and da-da-da. You can just ship an event at it, given a certain structure, and let it run through your system. And it lets you do that at high resolution, which is also, I find, really important, especially at our scale. When you're only doing a small number of requests, fine, 1 minute resolution, whatever, but for us, I want to see every event smashing through and then do small aggregations over that. We have a lot of deviant requests and things, and this has been already really, really helpful. It's fast. You can do all sorts of interesting statistics through Riemann. Fairly basic, right? Any statistician would go, oh yeah, I learned that in second year, but they're composable and very easy to just jump in and go, oh yeah, calculate me some percentiles and an apdex on this thing, and only talk about it when it's at a steady state within this range, right? It's really cool. And it's real time. So I pop open a dashboard and I can see what's happening right now. I don't have to wait a minute. We can deploy and immediately see what's going on. It's just great. So that was a tool. I'd like to talk a little bit about how I figure out what to measure. And the first thing I started at was what's going to get my boss fired. Not that I want my boss to get fired. I don't want my boss to get fired. And he probably has some KPI, some indicator of whether he's doing a good job at managing our development team. Right? And that indicator probably includes something that says the business is running well. Right, if that's the focus of your business. So ask yourself, what would get your boss fired if this was fail, right? If this thing went down, or if sales were offline and we didn't hear about it, what would get your boss fired? What does your boss's boss care about, right? If your boss's boss is reviewing sales numbers in the morning, like just rocks up in the morning, first thing, opens this sales report from the last day, from the last 24 hours, and goes, oh shit, sales are kind of low. They're like 10% off our normal. At Envato, I know our traffic and sales graphs are actually quite regular. Like there's an easily spottable pattern. And not only I spot that pattern, but the rest of the business knows this pattern and actually runs the business off of it. If they're looking at those kinds of things and would have emailed through and gone, hey, WTF, and this email circulates a while, and then somebody asks one of the devs, and you go, well, shit, I wish I had known that, because I don't know now. It's too late. Like, we've already lost all those sales. We've already screwed all these users. And we can't do anything about it, and we're going to have a hard time figuring out what was wrong and how to prevent it next time. So you figure those things out, and then you measure them really, really deeply. You can, in the sales example, it's the really obvious, easy metric here. In the sales example, you measure, I don't know, dollars per minute rolling through the system, or dollars per 10 minutes, whatever metric makes sense, and that's fine. It's a start. Can you slice and dice this? Is there stuff that we can think about beyond what the business would care about? It's still a number, but like dollars per minute per continent or country. Can we break it down by region? Can you break it down by server and do another interesting thing? Like my boss's boss doesn't give a shit whether Web 1 is shipping a certain amount of dollars, but I kind of do, and it actually brings two interesting pieces together. So really, really dig in, talk through these things with everybody involved, and figure out what's useful to alert on. And the other thing that a lot of people repeat is to measure everything. I've seen this done badly a lot. People say, oh yeah, we measure everything, except it actually takes a whole bunch of whipping to get people to start measuring things and continue measuring things. This is a bit of a pain. It's really, really important with whatever system you design, whatever system you build, whatever system you just buy off the shelf or choose from open source and hack together. Whatever you do, make sure it's really, really easy and there is as little inertia as possible holding people back from measuring stuff. Make it just a natural part of feature development, feature refinement. If people are working on your software, they should just feel like the natural thing to do is to measure it, because how do you know you successfully deployed a feature if you didn't measure something? So you should probably be measuring anyway, and give them the tools to do that, make it really, really easy. Riemann, for example, has a really simple Ruby client. So we run a Rails app, bang, Ruby client, and I just subscribe to a stack of active support notifications, and off it goes. It works really well. And there are heaps of other sources of data that you can use outside of just your application data. So it may originally come from your app, but you think about it a little bit differently. So do you have a data warehouse? If you've got a data warehouse, somebody cares about that information. Find out what reports are being run on that data warehouse. Find out what somebody looks at every day, or is tweaking, or is doing whatever. Like, figure that out. These are the things that you can start going, I bet I could get that from somewhere else too, or be polling the data warehouse, whatever you need to do. I personally feel that stuff should be real time. If I get an alert on it, it has to be real time. Can you talk to a BI team, right? If you've got some business intelligence group of some kind, or a BA or whatever, talk to them. And then once you've figured out what you're measuring, where you can get it, you've got a stack of stuff. You need to share that back out of the team. I think the worst thing that you could do is measure all of this stuff and go, yeah, we think we know what we got. Well, we know what the business cares about. We're measuring, we're gonna get woken up, and then not tell anybody about it until maybe a nasty event happens. But this stuff is really broadly useful, so why waste it? Why keep it siloed? We're trying to break the silos of dev and ops, right? At Envato, we don't and never have had an ops team, but there are a lot of organizations that are broken that way. Why would we silo the technical group from the non-technical business? We need to bring those groups together and be working together to do cool stuff, not just have people throw requirements over the wall and we go, cool, we built it, and then you guys go and figure out if it worked. I don't know. You need to be sharing that information back, because the nice thing that happens if you start giving people access to these metrics, to these dashboards, to these alerts, to the rate at which these alerts are happening, they can tell you, oh no, we don't care about that anymore. We actually started caring about a new thing, or we've started adding new stuff, or whatever. There's so many ways that they can then help you out as well. So it's this beautiful cycle that really makes the business run efficiently and will save you some sleep. So make it an endless feedback loop. Measure, show people, share it, measure some more. Then you're going to sleep better, you're going to keep your business running, you're going to keep your users happy, and everybody's going to be wonderful, right? You're going to keep making money. Thank you. I'm David Goodlad. Feel free to grab me a question later.